Shane Van Gisbergen got another win at the NASCAR Cup Series, this time in dominant fashion again on the road courses at the Toyota Mart 350 on Sunday at Sonoma Raceway. It was also the third win of the year for SVG. Van Gisbergen's 88 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet led 97 of the 110 laps in Wine Country, California, and won by 1.128 seconds when the race finished. It was the first win at the 1.99-mile, 12-turn Sonoma track for SVG and the fourth of his career. With the win at Sonoma, Van Gisbergen has now won 3 of the last 5 races, including back-to-back, which he also did in the previous race at the Chicago Street Course. His win in Wine Country tied Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, and Christopher Bell for the most wins on the year, as those guys won 3 races as well. The New Zealander also made history by winning his third straight race from the pole on a road/street course, which tied Jeff Gordon, who also did that in 1998 and 1999. That 4th career win for SVG was done in his 34th start, which is the fastest a driver won 4 races since Parnelli Jones won at Riverside International Raceway in 1967. The 97 laps that the Kiwi led are the most ever by a Sonoma winner, which passed the 92 laps that Jeff Gordon led in 2004. Gordon has the most wins by a driver at Sonoma with 5. Here's Van Gisbergen being asked on how his heart rate was and all those final cautions and restarts and more, courtesy of TNT.
Yeah, it was pretty tough stuff. We had an amazing car, but yeah, Chase Briscoe, what a great racer, and gave me respect, and jumped the last one a little bit, but it was pretty tense, but amazing. So stoked for Red Bull, Trackhouse, Chevy. Unbelievable. I had a really fun weekend here, some great races, and hope everyone enjoyed that.
Here's SVG talking about how hard it is to believe being the 3 seed in the playoffs after not having a win 5 weeks prior, and more, also courtesy of TNT.
Hard to believe that, isn't it? But I just have to thank these guys. You know, we've built up all year, got better and better, and now we need to keep getting better on the ovals and start proving some people wrong.
SVG, who won 81 Australian Supercars races and 3 championships, talked about how does he put in words what the last 2 years mean to him and more, also on TNT.
Oh, it means everything. That's why I race cars, you know. I had an amazing time in Australia, and then to come here, and yeah, the last couple of weeks or years actually has been a dream come true. I really enjoyed my time in NASCAR. Thanks everyone for making me feel so welcome, and yeah, hope I'm here for a long time to come.
Van Gisbergen still won the second stage, despite short pitting, in order to maintain track position. Van Gisbergen sits third on the playoff grid with 17 playoff points. Despite winning by 1.128 seconds over Chase Briscoe, that win wasn't promised, especially with what happened in the final 15 laps. SVG had to survive 3 cautions and restarts in the latter parts of the race to get the win. There were a number of drivers on better tires that were chasing those who stayed on the track with older tires, and SVG stayed on the track as well. That was after the 51 of Cody Ware, who lost a tire that brought out a yellow on lap 97. Briscoe also qualified second in his 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. He felt that's where he deserved to finish. Here's him talking about his run and more. The only opportunity I had was on the restarts. Briscoe said, I never played basketball against Michael Jordan in his prime, but I feel like that's probably what it was like. That guy is unbelievable on road courses. He's just so good. He's really raised the bar on this entire series. Here's more from Briscoe on his run. Proud of the effort, he said. I thought there was one restart. I was maybe going to get clear of him, but truthfully, even if I cleared him, he was probably going to pass me back by the end of the lap. Yeah, proud of the effort. We were a second place car all day, and obviously ended up second with it. Chase Elliott finished third after pitting on lap 97 to get fresher tires, and restarted 14th on lap 100. Here's Elliott being asked if there was an issue with Michael McDowell after running off course, and more, also courtesy of TNT.
No, there was no issue. There was dirt on the road, and then I got wide, and then I ran in the rest of the dirt. So it was, it happens up there, you know, at the top of the hill. People get right, and it slings dirt left, and then, you know, you can't see super well over the hill. So, yeah, I hate that. I was obviously pushing really hard. I didn't feel like we were quite as good that run as we were the run before. Don't know that it would have been enough, but maybe to get Briscoe. I'm not sure about Shane. But it was a great call. Alan made a great call there to get us on offense and at least give us a shot. And overall, I thought our Napa team did a good job. Had a fast Napa Chevy all day. Just need a little bit to those guys, but we were right there in the mix and give ourselves a chance.
Elliott also talked about if this was a different Sonoma or older Sonoma, especially with him having to be more offensive and managing tires and more, also on TNT.
Yeah, it's a strange repave for sure. It's unlike any repave I've ever been on. It's it races like the old track more than it races like a fresh repave usually does. I don't know why that is. I think maybe a combination of the tire. I think they've got a good tire combination that they brought that, it made for a good show, right? And we were able to follow it closer, I felt like, and people have some options there at the end and do something different. And, I think all those things are recipes to put on good racing. I thought today was a good race.
McDowell, who was on the same strategy as Elliott, was fourth at the end of the day, as Christopher Bell was fifth on older tires. Here's McDowell talking about if he was thinking if it would have went green, that he might have had a shot to win, and more. Also courtesy of TNT.
No. I mean, I think that, more than anything is we were hoping more cars would come when the window opened up. And when no one really came behind us, we were like, you're too far back to get to where you need to get. But we needed a little bit more out of our at Gamebridge Chevrolet today. I think we were a top 5 car. I don't think we had the pace to drive through the field like we needed to. So, we got aggressive with strategy. It didn't work out there, and then caught a caution there to put tires on and kind of regroup. We were at such a deficit at that point that we were never going to be able to move forward if we didn't put tires on. So, it averaged out, it worked out, but it's not what we need. We need to be sitting in victory lane, and that's the only way we're going to get in the playoffs. So we are going pretty aggressive on the strategy there, and it just didn't work out. So we'll go back and learn from it and, work on our car a little bit more. And, we still got great tracks in front of us. So proud of the effort. Everybody at Sonoma Sports is bringing fast cars. We're in the hunt, but just not enough to win today.
McDowell also talked about if SBG is in the conversation of the greatest guys to ever do this and toughest to beat in terms of road course racing and more, also on TNT.
Yeah, I mean, what he's doing is incredible. Not just his speed, but, the execution of making it happen, not having any mistakes on pit road, executing the restarts perfectly. It's one thing to be fast. It's another thing to do everything you need to win a cup race. So, yeah, what he's doing is incredible. And it's made everybody step their game up and push themselves harder, myself included. He is beatable. He hasn't been the last couple weeks, but I felt like Chicago, we had a car that contend. Today we didn't, but we got more races in front of us.
The action in the final laps will play a role in who will move on in the in-season challenge. In the third round at Sonoma, 32nd seed Ty Dillon bumped the 48 Chevrolet of Alex Bowman out of the way on the final lap to finish 17th. Bowman would finish 19th and was eliminated from the in-season challenge, with Dillon moving on. Dillon will face John Hunter Nemechek on Sunday at Dover Motor Speedway. Nemechek finished 28th and finished ahead of Legacy Motor Club teammate Eric Jones, who was 29th. Nemechek will move on to the fourth round as a result of his better finish over Jones. Ty Gibbs also moved on to the semifinals of the in-season challenge by finishing 7th, with his opponent Zane Smith finishing 27th. Tyler Reddick took down Ryan Preece with a 6th place finish to Preece's 12th. Gibbs and Reddick will face off at the Monster Mile for a chance to go to the final round in Indianapolis. Here's Gibbs talking about the chaos of the final few restarts, which were like bumper cars and more, also courtesy of TNT.
Yeah, 100%. We had a fast Saya Monster Energy Toyota Camry. Didn't end up kind of, where we kind of wanted to be, but okay finish for us. My guys didn't give up on me, and I needed to get better as well. So, we made some good adjustments throughout the day on my side and the team side, and we got better. We're just hammering down week by week, just seeing what we can do.
Gibbs also talked about what happened with Brad Keselowski on pit road and more, also on TNT.
Yeah, by NASCAR's rules, I'm the lead car because I'm the pit box pass where the 6 is, and I'm in front of them as well. We have these orange lines right there, as you can see. I'm sure they'll show you after, where, if I'm behind him, I have to go around those orange lines for it to be a rule, and going in, I have the right of way. So, they're on the wall for a reason. They jump for a reason. They kind of get out of the way, and those guys like to push it, and that's kind of the consequence you pay. So it's unfortunate for them that they had a penalty. Nothing malicious. It's my right of way. So.
The rest of the top 10 was William Byron finishing 8th, Joey Logano 9th, and Kyle Busch 10th. Ross Chastain and Ben Gisbergen won both stages. However, Chastain got into an incident with Trackhouse Racing teammate Daniel Suarez on lap 45. Suarez then spun after the contact in a turn 11 hairpin and lost 15 spots in the process. Suarez would finish 14th in the race and Chastain 24th. Other notable finishers included Keselowski finishing 11th, Josh Berry 13th, Chris Buescher 16th, Denny Hamlin 20th, Bubba Wallace 26th, Kyle Larson 35th, and Ryan Blaney 36th, respectively. Congratulations to Shane Van Gisbergen on winning at Sonoma. What another dominant win for him there, especially. I've now talked about his first 4 career wins in the Cup Series, which is something I've never done with a driver before, so that's pretty cool. And I'll leave the first 3 in the description. But I agree with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Steve Letarte, as they said on the TNT broadcast, paraphrasing of course, that they didn't think that SBG would have as much of an advantage on Sonoma, especially because of the fact that, I agree with them there, especially because of the fact that this track has been on the Cup Series since 1989, and these drivers know Sonoma and all all that. So for him to be able to win there, especially, to me, this is the most impressive win of his career there, especially because of the fact that this has been a track that a lot of drivers know. So that's pretty cool for him to be able to do that, because with the wins in Chicago and Mexico City, they haven't been on the Cup Series that long, but Sonoma, it has been for a lot of years, especially. So that'd be pretty cool for him to be able to do this, especially. So it's an incredible accomplishment for him to be able to show the momentum he has right now in the Cup Series, and he's got a lot of confidence, all that. So definitely, that's pretty cool there, especially. But yeah, for him to be able to win 3 straight races on a road course from the pole, not since Jeff Gordon, that a driver did that. That's pretty incredible company there for SVG. And it goes to show, especially there, that he's one of the best road course racers out there in NASCAR. And for him to be able to be in that incredible company is incredible there, especially. And he's already put himself among the all-time greats as far as road course drivers in NASCAR, along with Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Dan Gurney, and Chase Elliott. So that's pretty incredible company, especially because of the fact that those drivers at one point have been one of the best on road courses, and not the best. So that is pretty cool, especially for him to be able to do that. And also, what an incredible compliment by Chase Briscoe, comparing SBG's run to Michael Jordan. That's a pretty incredible name to be a part of as well in that category there, especially because of the fact that Michael Jordan is the GOAT of the NBA in basketball. So that's a pretty cool thing as well. And it's also pretty cool to be able to win at a track like Sonoma, because of the fact it's such a beautiful track, not far away from the Windows XP Bliss Hill as well. So definitely that's pretty cool. And it's also pretty cool for a driver to win there, to be able to celebrate by drinking wine, since it is wine country. So that's a pretty cool theme there, especially for a driver to do that when they win a race there at Sonoma. And SPG is no stranger to winning at Sonoma, as he won an Xfinity Series race there last year, and he almost won there this year as well, but he came up close there especially, but he's a second to Connor Zillett. So definitely that's pretty cool there especially. And it's also pretty cool that he got Red Bull back in victory lane there as well. The last time Red Bull won a race was in 2011 at Phoenix International Raceway, when Casey Kane won there especially, and that was when Red Bull was in NASCAR with the team Red Bull Racing there as well, and Kane ended a long winning streak there in the process. So definitely that's pretty cool for Red Bull, especially to get back in victory lane as well. And SPG is no stranger to winning with Red Bull as well, as he's won with them, especially in Australia in the Supercars series there as well. So definitely that's pretty cool there especially. But yeah, it's pretty cool also to be able to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. back at the track at Sonoma in a broadcast role, and he's no stranger to doing that, because of the fact that in 2003, for Fox there especially, he and Kevin Harvick took over the pre-race there, especially in the Hollywood Hotel, especially there from Chris Myers, Darrell Waltrip, and Jeff Hammond. So that's a pretty significant thing there, especially because of the fact that it foreshadowed their career in broadcasting, with Harvick now being part of Fox, and Jr. starting out at NBC, and is now with Amazon Prime Video and TNT there. And it's also pretty significant that race there, especially there at Sonoma there in 2003, as it was also the final Winston Cup race on Fox, the final race for Fox with its original 2001 graphics there as well, and also the race where Nextel was announced to take over the Cup Series in 2004, which Bill France Jr. made that announcement. And plus, the race was also known as the Dodge Seymour 350, and as well as what it was known as Infineon Raceway. And can't forget that Robbie Gordon was the driver who won that race, and it was also very successful there on road courses. And I'm most familiar with the Infineon Raceway name, especially because of the fact that I played it in NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup. So that's the name that I'm most associated that track with. But it's also had other names over the years as well, with Sears Point International Raceway and Sears Point Raceway. And that's also the name that Brock Beard calls it as well, Sears Point, especially there, since that was the name of that track for so many years. So definitely that's a pretty cool thing there especially. And Brock Beard is not far from Sonoma there as well, as he's from Northern California. So definitely that's a pretty cool thing there especially. And he's someone that always goes to the races there every year. So that's pretty cool there especially. But SPG is not the only international winner that has won there at Sonoma. When it was at Infineon Raceway 2007, Juan Pablo Montoya won there as well in 2007, when it was known as the Nextel Cup Series. And that was his first career win there in the Cup Series, when that was the infamous Car Tomorrow era. And Daniel Suarez got his first career win in the Cup Series in 2022 there at Sonoma as well. So definitely it's had some international flavor at that track, and it's a pretty cool track there especially. It was nice there in 2022 when they brought back the chute, especially since that's most associated with NASCAR. It was cool when they brought back the carousel for a couple years, but to me that's more associated with sports car racing, and Gran Turismo 4 is a proof of that, especially because of the fact that when it's a sports car track, it has the carousel, but when it says a stock car track, it's obviously talking about NASCAR. So the chute became iconic for when it comes to NASCAR especially, and especially because of the fact that the Cup Series and NASCAR is all about speed. So especially with the chute, drivers get to go faster there especially. So definitely that's a pretty unique part of that track. So definitely I'd much rather them race on the chute instead of the carousel. carousel is definitely meant for sports car racing, but that was part of the track there, especially early on in the history of the Cup Series there, especially. They first raced on the carousel from 1989 to 1997. And then they raced on the chute from 1998 till 2018. And then in 2019, for the 50th anniversary of that track, which opened in 1968, they went back to the carousel. Obviously, they didn't run it in 2020 because of COVID. In 2021, they raced on the carousel for the final time there, especially before it went back in 2022, like I said. But yeah, that's definitely a pretty cool thing there, especially for the track to be able to celebrate its roots and all that in its earlier days in the Cup Series. So, but yeah, like I said, the chute is a much better part of Sonoma. So definitely that's a pretty cool thing there, especially. But yeah, definitely it's a unique track there on the schedule, especially. Even though normally it's held in June, but now it's held in July. But especially the track during earlier parts of the year, around springtime or so. It's also green and all that, which is more beautiful, especially to be able to see the track there green. It would be cool for the Cup Series to be able to race there when it's under the green part of the year, especially with all the grass. Especially when they race now, it looks like the desert part of the track, especially like that. But especially, it's a pretty cool aesthetic there for Sonoma to have that kind of change over the course of the year. But yeah, it's part of like how it is there, especially on the schedule. So definitely that's a pretty cool thing there, especially for Sonoma and all that to be on the Cup Series with this kind of unique thing, especially since it's the only race in California all year because of the fact that the Auto Club Speedway is no longer around. So definitely that's a pretty cool thing there, especially. But yeah, Sonoma also used to have a second pit road called Gilligan's Island, in which drivers who ended up being on that side of the track were held for 18 seconds. And that was a unique part of that track there, especially. But obviously that's no longer around. But yeah, it's had a lot of incredible moments there, especially. In 1991, Ricky Rudd spun out Davey Allison for the lead with 2 laps to go. However, when Rudd crossed the start finish line after the final lap, he was given the black flag, but Allison was given the checker flag, and Allison was credited with the win, and Rudd was second in that race. But also, Rudd did get his final career win in the Cup Series in 2002 there, also, and that was back when it was known as the Winston Cup Series. Another driver got their final win there in Sonoma in 2016, with Tony Stewart there as well, as he made contact with Denny Hamlin for that win, but he was able to hold on and all that, especially. And Mart Truex Jr., also another great road course driver there in NASCAR history. He won 4 times there in Sonoma, but he got his final win there in 2023, and he got his first there in 2013. So, and plus Jeff Gordon, he was the man there at Sonoma Raceway, especially, as he won there 3 straight years from 1998 to 2000, especially how dominant he was on road courses back then, especially, as well as Watkins Glen. So that was pretty incredible history there of drivers having success there at Sonoma. So, and SVG added his name to that list. So, congratulations again to him winning at Sonoma, as it was a dominant win, like I said, and well-deserved there as well. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like. And if you are brand new, subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.